We've got a great crowd on hand, and we are just about ready to go here for the biggest rivalry in Northeast Ohio. Your Eagles of St. Edward, they'll be taking on the Wildcats of St. Ignatius here on the hardwood for some volleyball action here tonight. I'm Cody Wagner. In a moment, I'll be joined alongside Aiden Buchanan here to bring you this great action. This coming on the heels of a loss for the Eagles at the JV level, and an interesting match there. Aiden, how was that between the Eagles and the Wildcats?
It was a tough match for the Eagles. St. Ignatius got out to an early start. St. Ed's in the first set, St. Ignatius got out to an early start. St. Ed's, they began to rally in the second set, having a decent lead, 5-point lead throughout the whole set. St. Ignatius tied it up at 20 apiece, and they just took away right from there. They had match point at 25-24.
Now, with that, the Eagles get ready to go here against this varsity Wildcat squad. Eagles last season split the series, won on the road at the house of the Wildcats, but when the Eagles came home, they ultimately lost that close game against the Wildcats, and they'll look to right the ship here tonight. And record on the season for the Eagles so far stands at 1-1. Early season loss to Stowe, but were able to recover in the last one against Akron Hoban, and that was a 4-set match. Eagles ultimately won 25-27, then won the next 3 sets, 25-18, 25-15, then 25-21. And Aiden, I'll tell you, a kid that was all over in that game was Johnny Hutton. Hutton really does it all out here for this Eagles squad.
Wow, that kid gets in the face.
Can dig from the back row, can hit, gets a lot of kills for this Eagles squad. Only one ace last game from Hutton, but I'm expecting a lot more here tonight against the Wildcats. And with that, we are just about ready to go here between your Eagles of St. Edward and the Wildcats of St. Ignatius. And with that presentation from St. Edward Athletic Director Pete Kaler, we are just about ready to go here from the Eagles Nest. I'm Cody Wagner here alongside Aiden Buchanan, ready to bring you this volleyball action here between your St. Edward Eagles and the Wildcats of St. Ignatius.
This is a big one early on in the season for both teams. Both teams look to gain some momentum and energy. Eagles look to gain some momentum after the last win against Archbishop Hoban. So this is going to be a good matchup for both sides.
And Aiden, I won't mince words. Since last season, the Eagles have lost a fair number of key players for this squad. They lost Sam Clemente. They lost Will Garreau, their libero from last season. They also lost head coach Bob Shanowski. But under the direction of Neil Corrigan, we will see if your St. Edward Eagles are able to get it done here tonight against the Wildcats. Starting lineup for your Eagles, as you may have heard, it's number 9, Jacob Estevez. He's out there with number 11, Mason Monette. Number 3, Joey Baker, also out there with number 13, Cade Hickman, alongside Johnny Hutton, and number 1, the libero for your St. Edward Eagles, Michael Gall. On the Ignatius side, it'll be number 1, Andrew Bravery, to serve here first for the Wildcats. He's also out there with number 8, Sam Brown, alongside number 4, Christopher Slater. Also out there is Jack Reagan, Patrick O'Neill, and number 34, Sean Bingle. And with that, we are underway. The set from Monette and the hit from Estevez. And now the free ball over, played by Estevez. Now back row hit from Hutton. That's
great save.
A nice dig. And Monette and Estevez went up, but were unable to get the block there, and the first point will go to the Wildcats. Once again, number 1, Bravery to serve. And that played by Hickman. And the nice play there from Monette. Mason Monette likely going to be setting a lot for this Eagles squad here tonight. Just played that ball over and got the Eagles their first points of the night. Now checking into this game is Jared Gibble for your St. Edward Eagles. And that hit long from the Wildcats. Also checking into the game for the Eagles here is Zach Libertowski.
Freshman.
Libertowski, the freshman, has been very impressive for this Eagles squad. Likely to see him set with Monette out of the game at the moment. Hit from Sam Brown. That's dug out by Hutton. And now Joey Baker, that hit goes just long. Baker in the last game had 8 hits, 1 kill in that win against Archbishop Hoban. My apologies on that. Now to serve here for the Wildcats, it'll be Jack Reagan. Score is 2-2. And that serve goes wide there from Reagan. And now to serve here for the Eagles will be number 7, who just checked into the game.
Matt Bloom.
Bloom, the sophomore here for this Eagles squad. Outside hitter, so you're likely to see him hit from this back row position. And now the hit from Brown.
Great dig there.
Dug out there by Libertowski. Now hit comes from Gibble, and he was looking for the corner, but unable to find it.
Score is now 3-2 here. As we've seen, St. Ed's has gotten on the ground a lot this matchup so far.
Now played by Estevez, a big hit there from Estevez. Robbie was unable to handle that hit from Estevez there. That'll put the Eagles up 4-3 here early from the Eagles' nest.
And great set there from Zach Libertowski, setting them up just perfectly. Ooh, bad serve there.
Serve goes just short there from Estevez. Now coming back into the game is Gall for your St. Edward Eagles. Rotating a lot here early. Estevez in there to serve. Will come back in once he's able to get into that front row. Played there by Hutton from the back row. Now hitting from the back row is Hutton. That's dug out. And now Hutton playing it over to Gall. Now Gibble plays it over the net. Set from Sam Brown. Now outside hit. Nice from Libertowski, able to dig that out, diving across the floor. And that one will go wide there from number 10, Jacob Thomas, for the Wildcats.
And what I've noticed early is that the Eagles have been subbing a lot. Look to keep a lot of guys with a lot of energy. I overheard Coach Corrigan talking earlier. He said everybody will play tonight. So you should expect to see everybody on the field, on the court.
Score is 5-4 here on Jim Connor's court. And a nice hit there from Jacob Thomas. That'll make it 5-5 now. And Aiden, I expect this to be a very back-and-forth game between the Wildcats and the Eagles, just as both games were last season. That one from the den of the Wildcats. I was in attendance at that one. Very fun game to watch, electric throughout, and that ball going outside the...
And as I was in attendance of the home game of the Eagles last year, it didn't go in our favor, but we fought hard, played really well. And what I noticed is the seniors were big pieces last year, and that's something we're missing.
And that's a big hit right there from Bloom. One of those new pieces checking into the game is Joey Baker for your St. Edward Eagles. You see a lot of these kids out on the court that weren't necessarily starters, didn't get much play time, but have been a big part of this developmental program for the Eagles, and you're seeing that in players like Joey Baker, who have seen a lot of time out here for the Eagles. And that hit just finding the edge, and that'll make it 7-6 Wildcats here in this first set.
Back and forth game so far.
Now coming into this one is Paul Angert for the Wildcats to serve. Serve from Angert, floated over, and Hutton Didn't play it as he wanted, was trying to pass to the front row to Monette, I believe, but just went too far, and the Wildcats front row played it with the hit, and were able to come away with the point. 8-6 now, Wildcats.
Great hustle there from Johnny Hutton, trying to at least catch it after his mistake.
And now Gall gets it to Monette, who whacks it over. And that hit goes short there from Jack Reagan for the Wildcats. Make it 7-8 now. To serve for the Eagles is Michael Gall.
Esteem subs back into the game for Ivor Anderson. Ivor Anderson being a sophomore now. Another developmental guy. Played a lot of JV last year.
And the serve there from Gall in on the touch from Sean Bingle. So that'll make it now 8-8. Game is tied here between the Eagles and the Wildcats. Little student section formed along the far side for the Eagle faithful. And nice block there from Estevez, and now played out by Gall. Now Monette set for Estevez.
Wow, what a rally here.
Dig by Patrick O'Neill for the Wildcats. Now set over to Baker. Joey Baker with a huge kill. Baker his second kill in 2 games. Oh, and the point is going to be awarded to the Wildcats, I believe. That at least was the indication from the referee, and it will be. Couldn't quite see what the reasoning was for the point being awarded, but nonetheless, it'll be 9-8 here between the Wildcats and the Eagles. Serve comes in from Braby, and now floated over by Estevez. And now outside hit from Sam Brown. Now Estevez, a big kill right there for Jacob Estevez. The man in the middle for your St. Edward Eagles. Now checking in for Mason Monette is Jared Gibble.
And if I'm not mistaken, did Estevez win Player of the Mr. Volleyball last year?
He did not, but he was certainly recognized as one of those higher level players in the local area for the Eagles last season. That serve going long there, and on the subject of Jacob Estevez, is committed to play volleyball next season at Baldwin Wallace.
Big things in the future for this kid. Expect a lot of big things from him. As St. Ignatius puts the serve in the net.
Serve going in the net there from Jack Reagan for the Wildcats. Now make it 10-10. Just neither team really able to pull ahead here early. Now serving for your St. Edward Eagles will be Matt Bloom. Now Braby sets it in, a nice block there by Jacob Estevez. Estevez in the last one had 7 blocks for your Eagles. Make it now 8 in 2 games.
And being a returning player, that's the type of impact we're going to need from him all night to win this type of game.
Now Bloom once again to serve, 11-10 Eagles. And that serve goes just deep there from Matt Bloom. Score now tied at 11-11. To serve now for the Wildcats will be Sean Bingle. Bingle, the senior for the Wildcats. And that serve is going to go just deep and make it 12-11 now Eagles.
Great decision making there from how do you say it?
Estevez.
Great decision making there. You get just showing he's a veteran player.
Estevez with a little float serve there for the Eagles. And a nice outside hit there from number 6, Patrick O'Neill for the Wildcats.
A little bit of miscommunication between Estevez and Johnny Hutton. 2 big-time players, 2 veterans for the Eagles.
And that's what you see from O'Neill right there, just going between 2 guys. They've got to communicate, and just wasn't on point there between Estevez and Hutton. So the serve will come from the Wildcats. That goes off the hands of Matt Bloom, and so make it 13-12 Wildcats in this first set of action. And this Sam Brown serving for the Wildcats. He's an outside hitter on the roster, but he really does everything for this Wildcats team. And there's the ace there from Brown. Make it 14-12 Wildcats.
As Matt Bloom just couldn't get his shovel deep enough to dig it out.
Now the serve from Brown. That'll go a little deep.
And as Hickman subs in for Gibble.
So they'll put Hickman in the game so he can serve. Hickman's got a very solid float serve. Last game was able to come away with 3 aces. We'll see what he can do here tonight. Now outside hit from O'Neal, and Hickman was unable to dig that out there for the Eagles. Head coach Neil Corrigan urging Mason Monette to slide back so he could cover that ball, but nonetheless score will be 15-13 Wildcats. Serve from O'Neal, played by Hickman. Now it's Hutton with the hit. A nice hit by Johnny. Hutton will give the Eagles the point there, 14-15. Now Wildcats still in the lead. Now checking out of this game is Matt Bloom. Coming in for him is Joey Baker. Now the serve from Johnny Hutton. Has a very strong serve. Only 1 ace last game. Certainly wants to pick that up here tonight.
And he starts off, oh, never mind.
And O'Neal tries to play it over from the back row, unable to do so. Make it now 15-15. Tied here just over halfway through this first set between the Eagles and the Wildcats. I expect it to be close like this all night. Serve now from Hutton. That'll go deep. And now it's 16-15 Wildcats. This is going to be a battle here from the Eagles' nest. And it's going to be close all night long here. Checking into the game for the Wildcats is Paul Engert. Had a couple serves earlier. Now back into this game to serve for the Wildcats. Engert floats it over. Now Monette. He'll play it off to Hutton. And a great block in the middle by number 4, Christopher Slater for the Wildcats. 17-15 now Wildcats in this one. Now Monette with the set over to Baker. Baker just tapping it over, and that allows for another big hit by Jack Reagan for the Wildcats. 18-15 Wildcats starting to pull away. The Eagles need this point in a big way here.
The Wildcats getting the lead slowly but gradually.
So serve once again to come from Engert. Engert, the 5'9 junior for the Wildcats, played by Gall. And it was a free ball over, and it will be just wide, as that'll make it now 19-15 Wildcats.
Timeout from the Eagles.
That timeout for the Eagles. We'll see if Neil Corrigan can get his guys motivated to try to go out here and come back late in this first set. Down 19-15. Certainly not impossible to come back at the moment, but you have dug yourself a little hole. Serve also not on the side of the Eagles. It'll be Paul Engert to serve when we come out of this timeout for the Wildcats. And you certainly got to wonder how much of this advice is technical, how much of this advice is just trying to motivate his guys. And the Eagles will come out of this timeout ready to go here on Jim Connor's court here from the Eagles Nest. I'm Cody Wagner here alongside Aiden Buchanan, bringing you this Eagles and Wildcats volleyball action here tonight. To serve is Paul Engert. And there's the floater. Now Ivor Anderson will play it. Now Hutton has to play it over. And now Hickman. Now Baker trying to toss it over. And Monette tried to play it up, but no one was there, and that'll make it now 20-15 Wildcats. Wildcats up by 5 at the moment. They'll try to grow on that lead. Eagles have got to get this point, and the serve short there from Engert. This will now give the Eagles at least some sort of a chance here. Michael Gall now to serve for the Eagles. Front row is Monette, Baker, and Estevez for the Eagles. Back row will be Gall, Hutton, and Hickman. Now the set comes here from Sam Brown, and a nice hit there from Jack Reagan for the Wildcats. And Monette went up to block it, but was unable to capitalize, and it'll be now 21-16 Wildcats.
And as St. Ignatius, what I've noticed so far, and they do not sub a lot. They like to stick with their core guys, unlike the Eagles. They like to have and they touched the net.
And the net touch there from the Wildcats. It'll make it Eagles serve, and we'll see how costly that mistake proves here for the Wildcats. Now back to serve for your St. Edward Eagles. It'll be number 6, Zach Libertowski. Libertowski floats that one over. And now the hit there from Jack Reagan, who's been having a heck of a game for that Wildcat squad. Score will now be 22-17. Wildcats up by 5. Serve now from Reagan, played by Estevez. Now set from Libertowski, over by Estevez. Now the hit there from O'Neal for the Wildcats. Now outside Joey Baker. He'll float that one over for the Eagles. Now outside Sam Brown. Now Hutton plays it for the Eagles. And now a block there from Estevez. And
a great rally
still
here.
A play. And now outside for Gibble. And the Wildcats come away with the point. Head coach for the Wildcats very excited at that moment. It's now 23-17 Wildcats late in this first set.
Wildcats are now 2 points away from set point.
Now the serve once again to come from Reagan. And played by Hutton. And he'll float one over. Now the hit from Brown. And Brown with a kill there for the Wildcats. 24-17 now. Wildcats.
Yeah, Johnny Hutton hits the splits there.
Set point now here for the Wildcats. They'll try to capitalize here against the Eagles. Eagles will try to make a late set comeback. Back row for the Eagles is Estevez, Hutton, and Gall. Serve was towards Gall, and it'll be called deep and will be overruled by the referee, and that'll be the set there. 25-17 Wildcats.
It's different Wildcats as Johnny Hutton gets from the team and tries to discuss.
And Aiden, how did you feel about that first set between the Eagles and the Wildcats?
We have to be more precise with our hits. We have to know where we want them to go. We have to send them where we want them to go. That's something Ignatius has been very good at so far this game.
I certainly agree with you, Aiden. It's been a close one thus far, but it has been the hitting that has ultimately put Ignatius ahead in this game thus far.
Yeah, one thing I like from St. Ed so far is the effort. Get on the ground for these digs. They're just getting it out. But we have to work on our hits a little bit more.
And the hits from St. Ignatius have really been solid throughout, have not been scared to go towards the blocks of the Eagles, and it's panned out. A couple hits from Jack Reagan looked like they were going to get blocked by either Estevez or Monette over there on the outside, but Eagles have not been able to capitalize on the blocks thus far, and a lot of the Eagles' points have kind of come off those finesse floaters that you saw earlier from Hutton. So we'll see if the Eagles can get some more solid hits going here in the second set against the St. Ignatius Wildcats. And for the Wildcats thus far, it's been a heavy dose of Jack Reagan. Had a couple good serves in the first set, along with a couple hits from the outside. Also doing it for the Wildcats was Sam Brown. You saw him make a couple sets, a couple hits, a kill late in the set, which was huge for the Wildcats. So it'll likely be that strong core to continue for this Wildcat squad. And as you mentioned near the end of that set, it's really been a small, tight-knit group for that Wildcats team. Only have about 12 guys on the squad and really only play 8 of them. And for the Eagles, you see about 10 guys come into the game, so it's a very different approach for these two squads.
Yeah, I believe St. Ed's just trying to keep their players warm, have the versatility throughout the game. They don't have as much fatigue. But St. Ed's coaches believe that their guys are in better shape and they can go out there and play much longer spurts.
And so the lineup to come out here for the second period for the Wildcats, it'll be number 8, Sam Brown. He's out there alongside number 6, Patrick O'Neill. Also out there for the Wildcats is number 7, Lucas Bender. Number 5, Jack Reagan. Number 4, Christopher Slater. And number 10, that's Jacob Thomas. For your St. Edward Eagles, it'll be Michael Gall, who will check in a moment, I believe, for Ivor Anderson. He's out there alongside Mason Monette, Joey Baker, Jacob Estevez, Johnny Hutton, and Cade Hickman.
I believe the rest is checking the Ignatius roster right now. They make a sub.
And now the libero will come in for both squads. Checking out will be Lucas Bender, and into the game will be Sean Bingle, the libero for that Wildcat squad. And coming out is Ivor Anderson, and coming into the game is the libero Michael Gall for your St. Edward Eagles. Johnny Hutton talking it over with the squad before this second set of action. We are just about ready to go. I'm Cody Wagner here alongside Aiden Buchanan, ready to bring you this second set of action. And we are ready to go in just a moment. Serve from Michael Gall. And that dug out there by O'Neill. And now free ball over by Bingle. Now played by Monette into the middle. Estevez keeps it up for the Eagles, and Hutton plays it over. What a great play by Johnny Hutton. And ultimately won there on the hit from Christopher Slater for the Wildcats. Eagles just kind of all out of sorts after that free ball sent over by Hutton. Wildcats take advantage of that. It's now 1-0 here early in the second set. Wildcats have the advantage. Andrew Bobby to serve for the Wildcats. Now played by Hickman. Now the set from Hutton. Now Joey Baker to hit. And that kept up by Cade Hickman. And now played over from Johnny Hutton. A nice ball there from Hutton from the back row. Make it 1-1. Now Eagles. And Johnny Hutton in the last game had 33 hits, 10 kills. Was 2 digs for Hutton, also an ace in that game. So Hutton really just does it all. You'll see him hit oftentimes from the back row, but plays in every single position for this Eagle squad. And now dug out by Libertowski, who's done a great job in this game for the Eagles. Free ball over by Baker, and now outside hit from Reagan. And that'll be a point there for the Wildcats. Make it 2-1. St. Ignatius. Reagan with the hit there for the Wildcats. He'll now be the one to serve. Reagan standing at 6'5". Hits very well for this Wildcat squad, but that serve goes short into the net. Make it now 2-2 between the Eagles and Wildcats in the second period.
As Matt Bloom looks to sub in for Joey Baker for the serve.
Bloom now to serve here for the Eagles, and that will go just short, hit the top of the net, and it'll be now 3-2 Wildcats. Coming into this game is number 7, Lucas Bender for the Wildcats.
Yeah, and Matt Bloom's teammates all went over him right away to go support him on his missed serve.
Serve now to come from Bingle for the Wildcats, played by Estevez. Now Libertowski out to Hutton. That blocked, but Eagles keep it up. Now hit from Estevez. And there was a little miscommunication between Robbie and Bingle, and that leads to an Eagles point. Number 8, Sam Brown, encouraging some communication between these Wildcats players. Now the serve to come from Estevez for the Eagles. Now set from Robbie. Now outside hit from O'Neill.
Great block there from Gribble. Not Gribble, Gerbil. Gibble.
Jared Gibble trying for that block once again, but as we saw in that first set, it's really been a struggle throughout this one trying to capitalize on those blocks thus far for the Eagles. 4-3 now Wildcats. Robbie heads out of the game. Now to serve for the Wildcats is Sam Brown. Brown, serve comes over just short of the net is the serve from Brown. Now it's 4-4 in a tight one between the Eagles and the Wildcats. Coming into this game now are Hickman and Monette for the Eagles. Hickman now to serve. 3 aces in the last game for Hickman. Floats one over here for the Eagles. Set from Sam Brown. Now outside hit from Patrick O'Neill. That'll be a kill there for the Wildcats.
Missed block opportunity for Ivor Anderson and Johnny Hunt. Both of them admitting it, saying it's their fault. Great teammateship there from both of them.
And now serve to come from O'Neill. Serve goes over, played by Hickman. Now Anderson. It was a nice hit from Anderson, but even better dig there from the Wildcats. And now set from Monette. Outside hit Johnny Hutton. Big moment there for the Eagles. Make it 5-5 now between the Eagles and Wildcats.
Joey Baker now subbing in for Matt Bloom.
And it is just such a pleasure to watch Johnny Hutton play. He is so impressive. Gets up so high to make those hits. And a kill there for the Eagles makes the score 5-5. Hutton to serve now, floats that one over. Now the set from Brown, hit from number 7, Lucas Bender. And it was 4 hits there from the Eagles. And so Wildcats point. Now going back to serve for the Wildcats is Paul Anger. He's kind of been the serve specialist for the Wildcats. Has come in when they've needed him. Has done a good job thus far. Played by Gall. Now Monette. Now sending over is Baker, and that was blocked by the Wildcats. And now lackadaisically playing it into the net was Jack Reagan for the Wildcats. Was the only one over there on the left side and had to play it up, but tried to play it over to the Eagles side and ultimately found the net in his way. Serve now to come from Michael Gall. Serve over from Gall, set from Brown. Now outside hit from number 10, Jacob Thomas. And it'll be Wildcats point now, 7-6 Wildcats. Out there in the back row for the Eagles is Cade Hickman. He's alongside Johnny Hutton and Michael Gall. Now played to Hutton. Now Monette. Now hit from Estevez. And that's a kill there for Jacob Estevez, the middle hitter for the Eagles. And that's now 2 kills in this one here for Jacob Estevez. Estevez last game was really impressive with the blocks. Had 7 blocks in the last game. And that serve now going long from Libertowski.
There's a little bit too much on it.
It's now 7-8 Wildcats. Serve now from Reagan. And Estevez thought it was going to go deep, but it finds the back line there from Jack Reagan. Now 9-7 Wildcats.
Great serve there from Reagan.
The Wildcats bench now getting into it.
That's the JV squad tries to hide the varsity up during this game.
Now serve from Reagan goes short there for the Wildcats. Now it's 8-9. Wildcats still lead. And checking into this game is Matt Bloom. Coming out for the Eagles is Joey Baker. Serve coming over from Bloom. Now set from Brobby. Play back to Brown. And dug out there from Bloom. And hit goes wide from Johnny Hutton.
Score is now 10-8 in the second set.
10-8 Wildcats here from the Eagles Nest. I'm Cody Wagner here alongside Aiden Buchanan to bring you this action on the Eagles Sports Network. Serve now to come from Sean Bingle for the Wildcats. 5'8" senior sends the serve over. And now a big hit from Estevez went wide there for the Eagles. Estevez communicating with the setter Libertowski. And that serve there will go wide from Bingle. That'll be point for the Eagles. And Jacob Estevez will head back to serve for your St. Edward Eagles. Over by Estevez. Now the hit from O'Neal. And that shot goes wide from Patrick O'Neal for the Wildcats. He tried to float it over the blocking arms of Gibble and Anderson. And that shot went wide there. So serve coming from Estevez. Now Brabi playing it once again to O'Neal, and
score is now 11-11, tie game here. Great block there by Ivor Anderson.
And they called it on the, I believe, double hit from Brabi for the Wildcats. It's 11-11 now, and that mistimed there from Lucas Bender in the middle for the Wildcats. Make it 12-11 Eagles. That's the first lead of the set for your St. Edward Eagles.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a glitch, but I know it didn't work out well for him.
Serve from Estevez. Now looking for Brown on the outside. That goes just deep. Wildcats looking for a touch there, but Eagles will now go up by 2 here in the second set. 13-11 Eagles. With absolute pleasure, I am able to bring you this action. I'm Cody Wagner here alongside Aiden Buchanan on the Eagles Sports Network. A big hit right there from Sam Brown gave the Wildcats a point. Hutton went up to block, but was unable to do so there for the Eagles. 13-12 now is the score. Sam Brown heads back to serve for the Wildcats. Serve comes from Brown, played by Bloom. Now a hit from Jared Gibble gives the point to the Eagles. It was the set there for the Eagles coming from Zach Libertowski. Eagles kind of have 2 setters on the squad. It's Monette and Libertowski. So checking in now is Mason Monette. And set from Brown, that's back to O'Neal. Free ball over from Cade Hickman, wins the Eagles the point. Hickman just kind of dug it out, and the Wildcats allowed it to fall to the ground. Eagles now go up 15-12 here against the St. Ignatius Wildcats. Set from Brown over to O'Neal. Now set from Monette to Anderson. Anderson plays it over. Eagles catching fire here in the second set.
This is a great run here by the Eagles.
Your St. Edward Eagles timeout from the Wildcats.
Great run here by the Eagles. A lot of momentum gain here. Forced the timeout by the St. Ignatius Wildcats and the coach.
And now we've got some life here in the Eagles' nest. These fans letting the Eagles know their appreciation. It's 16-12 Eagles. With that timeout from the Wildcats, you can see head coach Neil Corrigan very animated in the huddle of the Eagles, urging his guys on to try to take this second set from the Wildcats. Eagles were down early in the set, but have rebounded since, now up 16-12. Eagles now break from the huddle here. Back to serve for the Eagles is Cade Hickman. Hickman coming off that huge dig that just kind of found the ground over on the Wildcat side.
Hickman with the serve here.
As you've seen from him throughout the season, he'll kind of float that one over for the Eagles. Now O'Neal, it'll be a free ball from the Wildcats from Jack Reagan. Now set from Monette over to Hutton. Johnny Hutton with the kill there for the Eagles. That's his 4th kill of the game for your St. Edward Eagles. 17-12 now Eagles. Aiden, Eagles starting to pull away in the second set. Now free ball over. This gives a big opportunity for Hutton on the outside, and he does it for the Eagles. 18-12, your St. Edward Eagles.
St. Ed's is slowly but surely pulling away with this set.
The serve from Hickman kind of set up that opportunity. It was a free ball over from Reagan, and the Eagles capitalized on it. Now played in the back row from Bingle. Now Patrick O'Neill sends it over for the Wildcats. Now in the middle, Ivor Anderson, played by Reagan. Now set out to O'Neill. That will go deep. 19-12, your St. Edward Eagles. They have absolutely caught fire here in this second set. It was 14-12 Eagles. Now it's 19-12, your St. Edward Eagles. Hit on the outside was from number 10, Jacob Thomas, dug out by Hickman. Now free ball over from Matt Bloom. Now hitting in the middle is Becker, and a big block there from Ivor Anderson. 2012 now Eagles.
5 points still set point here for the Eagles.
Excitement building here.
Ooh.
And that serve from Hickman goes short immediately.
And
takes the blame for that one. Now 2013, Eagles still remain in the lead.
That was a big momentum there. Oh, and that just gives them our momentum back.
And the Eagles take it right back here. Serve now for Johnny Hutton. Hutton, it's been kind of hit or miss at times throughout this season on his serve. He'll hope to hit here against the Wildcats. When Hutton hits, however, it is a delight to see his serve. And that one will go just wide there. 21-14 now. Eagles still remain in the lead. Head coach Neil Corrigan has certainly got to be pleased with this second set effort. He sits on the bench alongside assistant coach Patty Thomas. And that serve now goes short from number 2, Paul Engert, for the Wildcats. Engert in there just for the serve for the Wildcats. He'll check out of the game. Now to serve here is Michael Gall for your St. Edward Eagles. He sends that serve over, and it was just wide, as ruled by the lines judge. Now it's 22-15. 5 missed serves in a row from both squads.
They're just trading points here.
Now Braby to serve for the Wildcats. Played now by Hutton. Set from Monette. Done beautifully there in the middle by Jacob Estevez. Floated up there and just tapped it over and gave the Eagles the point there. 23-15, your Eagles. Now serve to come from Libertowski. And the serve does go just long there from Libertowski. 23-16 now, Eagles. Both teams have kind of struggled serving as of late. We'll see if the Wildcats can get back on track with this serve from Jack Reagan.
The Eagles are 2 points away from set point here.
And that played by Estevez. And I think Libertowski thought it was going to go over there from Estevez. Really didn't try to play the ball, but that play there from Estevez, the ball going short, and now it'll be 23-17, Eagles still in control. Serve from Reagan, played by Gall. Now Libertowski set, and it'll be Wildcats point. Double hit there from Libertowski.
He hit it twice?
That was at least the call from the referee. And the Eagles thought it was going to be deep. It was, and now the referee awarding the point to the Wildcats there.
And this is
now 23-19, Eagles.
This game is getting closer and closer by the second.
As you say, Aiden, a run here from the Wildcats. Head coach Neil Corrigan trying to get a timeout, and he does so. Wildcats ecstatic with their performance recently in this game against the Eagles. It's been back and forth thus far. First set for the Wildcats saw them coming away with that 25-17 victory. Eagles will try to get it back here in the second set. 23-19 Eagles at the moment. We'll see what the lineup looks like for the Eagles when they come back out. A big part of this game has been the middle hitter for the Eagles, Jacob Estevez, alongside Johnny Hutton, who really plays everywhere for this Eagles squad. And so here we go. We're back underway here from the Eagles Nest. It's your Eagles 23, Wildcats 19 here in the second set. Jack Reagan to serve has been a big part of this Wildcats lineup, especially in that first set that they won by a score of 25-17. Now played by Hutton in the back row. Now hit from Estevez. Played well there from Bingle. Now played over. Gall's got it. Now Libertowski to Gibble. Now Gibble will set it, and it's Libertowski playing it over. And now a hit from Sam Brown, and that'll give the Wildcats the point. Make it 23-20 now, Eagles.
And now the Wildcats are within 3. St. Ed's has not scored in at least the last 2-3 minutes. They need points here badly.
Now serve to come here from Jack Reagan for the Wildcats. Back row for the Eagles looks like Hutton, Estevez, and Gall. And that serve will go deep from Reagan. A big moment there for the Eagles. 24-20 now Eagles. They've got a shot
Set point
to
right
win
here.
this set. It's Matt Bloom to serve. And the Wildcats will want to talk it over here as the Eagles are on set point. 24-20 here from the Eagles Nest. I'm Cody Wagner here alongside Aiden Buchanan on the Eagles Sports Network. For this Eagles, it's been a far better second set. Early in the second set, they were down, had tied it a couple times, but went on a big run, went up 19-12. Wildcats have brought it back. It was 23-20, but with that most recent point won by the Eagles, it's 24-20 now. Matt Bloom to serve when we come out of this timeout. And here we go. Matthew Bloom to serve for the set for your St. Edward Eagles. Eagles players out there right now are Bloom, Libertowski, Gall, Estevez, Gibble, and Hutton. And an ace there from Matt Bloom wins the Eagles this second set of action.
That's exactly what the Eagles needed there. Regaining confidence, regaining momentum. The set count is now 1-1.
And a huge moment there from Matt Bloom from the Eagles Nest. It's now one set apiece. Wildcats won that first set 25-17. Eagles came back and won the second 25-20. So with this 3-minute break between sets, we will take a brief pause here on the Eagles Sports Network. Third set to come. Hello and a big welcome back from the Eagles Nest. We've got volleyball action on a Tuesday night here from the Eagles Nest. I'm Cody Wagner here to bring you this action on the Eagles Sports Network. Set from Monette back to Hutton, and Hutton tried to play it off the block from Reagan, and the point will go to the Wildcats. Make it 1-0 Wildcats here early in the third set. Now serve from Brabi. That will go just wide here. Make it 1-1 early in the third set. And certainly these points can be important for momentum, but as you saw in that second set, Eagles were able to complete a comeback, so we'll see what transpires here early in the third set. Serve short there from Libertowski for the Eagles. It's now 2-1 Wildcats. Serve from Reagan now. Played over by Gall. That free ball from Gall now. A hit from Sam Brown. Trying to block were Estevez and Baker for the Eagles. Unable to capitalize there. 3-1 now Wildcats. We welcome back in my partner in the booth. It's Aiden Buchanan here. I'm Cody Wagner, bringing you this action on the Eagles Sports Network. Serve from Reagan, now played by Libertowski. Estevez hit for the Eagles. That now gives the Eagles their second point of the set. 2-3 now, Wildcats lead. Now Matthew Bloom to serve, coming off a big moment late in that second set where he was able to win the Eagles the set.
Off the ace.
Serve now from Bloom. And now played by Brabi. Outside O'Neal. And a great dig there from Johnny Hutton. Now Brabi plays it back to Sam Brown. That hit will go wide there from Brown. It's now 3-3. We're tied here early in the third set. Some students coming out for this one here for the Eagles in support of their fellow brothers. And now that hit there from Bloom will go awry there, and it'll be now 4-3 Wildcats.
As the St. Ignatius bench gets a couple cheers going.
It's now 4-3 Wildcats. Now to serve for the Wildcats is number 2, Paul Engert, and that serve from Engert goes just wide. Engert, the serve specialist for this Wildcat squad. He'll immediately check out for Christopher Slater. And now serve to come from Estevez. Score is tied at 4-4. Set from Brabi, back to Brown. Hit from Sam Brown will go just long. 5-4 now Eagles. Once again to serve for your St. Edward Eagles is Jacob Estevez. Serve comes in from Estevez. Played back row from O'Neal. Brabi over to Brown. Now set from Libertowski. Now Hutton playing it over. Nice dig there from Brabi. Now Patrick O'Neal. Hit from him will go wide. Eagles point. 6-4 now. Your Eagles lead. Set score tied at 1-1. Eagles lost the first set 25-17, recovered and won that second one 25-20. Now outside hit from O'Neal. That goes off the forearm of Gibble and will go wide there. Point now going to the Wildcats. It'll be Sam Brown back to serve. Score is 6-5. Now serve from Brown. It'll be a nice serve there. Bloom plays it over. Now set coming from Brown. Now O'Neal, he'll try to play it across, but was unable to get it over the net. Now 7-5 Eagles. Aiden, how have you felt about this action here early in this third set?
Yeah, it's been very tight. Close game. Very competitive atmosphere. Very competitive set so far.
And so set from Brown here. Outside O'Neal. And there O'Neal gets it done for the Wildcats. Trying to block that was Johnny Hutton for the Eagles. Now it's 7-6 Eagles. Wildcats bring it within one. Patrick O'Neal now back to serve for the Wildcats. And that will go just deep. Johnny Hutton taking a close look at it, allowing it to go deep, and it'll be now 8-6 Eagles. Hutton now back to serve for your St. Edward Eagles. Back row looks like Hutton, Hickman, and Gall. In the front row for the Eagles is Monette, Baker, and Anderson. And that serve just going over there from Hutton. And a nice hit there from Jack Reagan, finding the opening between Hutton and Hickman. It's 8-7 Eagles. Wildcats now will try to tie it here on the serve from Sean Bingle. Bingle stands at 5'8" for this Wildcat squad. His serve goes just deep there. It was very close, but nonetheless will be Eagles point. 9-7 now, St. Ed's. Checking into the game is Jacob Estevez. Checking out is Ivor Anderson. Estevez in it middle. Serve coming over from Michael Gall. Now trying to block were Estevez and Monette. Unable to do so, and the point will go to the Wildcats. It's now 9-8 Eagles. And it's already been a close one here from the Eagles nest. Expecting it to continue to be so as we get deeper and deeper into this match. And now big hit from Estevez. It was a free ball over from number 6, Patrick O'Neal for the Wildcats. Estevez jumped up and just said, "Not in my house." 10-8 now, Eagles.
As it was a huge scramble for St. Ignatius, Estevez takes advantage of it and gets the huge kill.
Now serve floated in by Monette. Now Braby over to number 5. That's Jack Reagan. Now Monette trying to play it over to Estevez. Estevez.
Oh, and they touched the net.
And it was a really kind of awkward position for Estevez to find himself in. It was the set from Monette went a little bit too much towards the Ignatius side, and so Ignatius tried to play it back over, but ultimately ran into the net there. Oh! And a big block there from Jacob Estevez. Make it 12-8 Eagles.
Timeout for St. Ignatius. St. Ed's goes on a 3-4 overrun and gaining momentum once again.
And a big moment from Estevez. Just met Chris Slater in the middle of the net and said, "Not today." Eagles up 12-8 coming into this timeout. And this game always a huge indicator for where the Eagles will likely find themselves in playoff time, certainly early in the season, so both teams still have a lot of growing left to do. Would think that game later this season at St. Ignatius would be more indicative of where these teams will end up in the playoffs, but certainly this one very important here tonight from the Eagles nest. A big rivalry game certainly will provide lots of momentum for whichever team comes out on top.
Yeah, letting us know where we stand at right now.
Eagles were 1-1 against the Wildcats last season. That being the record for the Eagles so far this season. 1-1, lost a game early this season to Stowe. Eagles now up 12-8 in this one against the Wildcats. Played by Slater, now outside to Brown, and that drops down between Monette and Gibble. Gibble tried to go up for the block, went through his hands. Monette tried to dive for it, wasn't able to get there. 12-9 now, Eagles remain in the lead. Serve to come now from Jack Reagan. Reagan, his serve goes just short. Make it 13-9 now, your St. Edward Eagles. Coming back to serve now, Matt Bloom for the Eagles. Had a huge moment late in that second set, finding the ace to win the set for the Eagles. Floats that one over. Now set from Braby out to Brown, and Brown put it just short. Was trying to float it over the blocking hands of Estevez and Hutton, but that'll put the Eagles now up 5, tied for one of their biggest leads of the game. Now serve goes short there from Bloom, 14-10 Eagles. Now coming back to serve is Paul Engert for the Wildcats. Engert last time found himself putting one in the net, and a big hit there from Jacob Estevez finds the line, make it 15-10 Eagles.
Ivor Anderson now subbing in from Michael Gow.
And interesting to see Gall head off the libero for the Eagles. We'll see if the Eagles can hunker down in the back row with Estevez, Libertowski, and Bloom. And now a free ball over there from the Wildcats, played by Gibble. Now played out to Hutton, and a big hit there from Johnny Hutton. Played off the hands of Robbie. And that'll be point Eagles, make it 16-10, your St. Edward Eagles. Now serve to come here from Jacob Estevez, floated over, and Patrick O'Neill had a tough time with that one, make it 17-10 Eagles.
Nice ace there from Esteban.
Estevez now once again back to serve for the Eagles. Floats that one over, and that now a free ball, which just found the middle of 4 Eagles. It was Anderson, Libertowski, Estevez, and Hutton who all surrounded the ball there for the Eagles, but it drops in for the point for the Wildcats. Score now 17-11 Eagles, and that serve hitting the net and going over there from Sam Brown for the Wildcats. 17-12 Eagles. Coming back into the game for the Eagles is Michael Gall. Now Gall will set it over to Hutton. Big hit from Hutton will find the line, make it 18-12 Eagles. Aiden, I'll tell you, these last 2 sets from the Eagles have looked amazing. They've just been firing on all cylinders. As you mentioned early in that first set, the hits really weren't as well as you would have liked them to be, and they have really capitalized on those opportunities here in the second and third sets.
Yeah, they have started clicking just after that first set. You really see them start clicking towards the end of the first set, but their hits really started to have big impact during the game, during the second and third sets.
And so, interesting situation, hit from O'Neill, went into the net. The referee, I think, thought it was blocked by the Eagles, but Eagles making sure the ref was aware that it did not make it over the net. Now it's 19-12 Eagles. And now serve floated over from Hickman, played in the back row. Now Brown will play free ball over. Gall now, Monette, outside, Johnny Hutton. That kid has been electric here for your St. Edward Eagles.
And that kid can fly, everyone. It's not Superman, it's not Michael Jordan, it's Johnny Hutton.
Hutton going to play football next year at the collegiate level. That serve now going long from Hickman. 2013 Eagles. A couple of his teammates from the football team are here to support Hutton out here tonight. That hit comes over from Hutton, now set outside. Big block there for Ivor Anderson. Teammate Mason Monette lets him know he's appreciated for his efforts. Make it now 21-13 Eagles. And Johnny Hutton heads back to serve. Big serve there. Lots of topspin there from Hutton. Reagan outside hit for the Wildcats. Now over to Joey Baker. Baker found the line. Wow. 22-13 Eagles. They're running away with the third set at the moment. Up 9 here late in the set.
3 points till set point here.
Serve now to come from Hutton. We'll see if he goes float or topspin. It's a top spin, but didn't get it down quite as much as he would have liked, so that'll make it now 22-14 Eagles. Hutton really went for it, but that's kind of what you like to see when you're up 9 late in the set. You've got some points to give at this point. Bingle now to serve. Now played by Hutton, now Monette, now Anderson. Nice hit there from Anderson. Puts the Eagles up 23-14.
2 points till set point here.
And now headed back to serve is Michael Gall for the Eagles. Gall has been doing very well with this float serve throughout this one. And now Gall will set over to Monette, over to Estevez. Estevez mistimed the jump, now just forced to play it over. Now set from Monette, outside Baker. That blocked there by the Wildcats. And now Baker outside, and he was outside the flag there. And that'll now make it 23-15 Eagles. And the Wildcats JV players now getting into this one. They're trying to urge their team on and try to get them to make a comeback here late in the third set. Played by Hickman, Monette, Estevez, and that played off the arm of Sam Brown over on the Wildcat side. Make it 24-15 Eagles.
Eagles are now at set point here. Looking to take the nice 2-1 lead.
Serve to come from Mason Monette for the Eagles. And he floats that one in. Robbie on the set, out to Reagan. Now played by Hutton, and he played it too far over near the net. Was trying to pass in the direction of Mason Monette, but just led him a little too close to the net, and Monette was unable to do much with that ball, and so that'll make it 24-16 Eagles. Reagan now back to serve for the Wildcats. Played off the arms of Estevez. Now free ball over from Gall. Now played outside the flag from Sam Brown. Eagles win the third set, 25-16. Mason Monette very excited for himself and his squad. Johnny Hutton saying the time is now. Eagles so close to victory. And we will take a brief break here on the Eagles Sports Network. Eagles up 2-1, fourth set to come. Hello and welcome back inside the Eagles' nest. We are just about ready to get underway with this fourth set of action between the Eagles and the Wildcats. It's been a very close match thus far between the Eagles and Wildcats. And it was a 25-16 victory in that third set for the Eagles. And now they'll get the first point there on a serve from Michael Gall. Eagles go up 1-0 here early in the fourth set rather. And serve now going short from Gall. Teammates going over to show support for Gall. And now it'll head over to the Ignatius side. Serve to come from Jack Reagan. Serve now from Reagan. And Hutton plays it off the hands and just unable to pass over to Mason Monette. And now serve to come from Reagan. And now played by Hutton, now Monette. And a meeting at the net, won there by the Wildcats. That was number 4, Christopher Slater for the Wildcats. I welcome back in my partner, Aiden Buchanan. Aiden, it's certainly been a good performance thus far from the Eagles. They'll look to close it out here in the fourth set.
And as every set has been so far, the St. Ignatius Wildcats always jumped out to an early lead. This is nothing for the Eagles.
So that serve going wide there from Reagan. Certainly that second set, they were up 3 early until the Eagles totally swung momentum in their favor. And since then, they have not looked back. It has been all Eagles since then. And now Estevez playing it over. And now played by Gall. Now played back over by Slater. And that'll be point Wildcats. It's now 4-2, the St. Ignatius Wildcats up early in the fourth set. Last year for the Eagles, it took 5 sets to get it done from the St. Ignatius gym. Eagles will try to get it done in 4 sets here tonight from the Eagles' nest. They've got an opportunity up 2-1. Set now from Libertowski over to Estevez with the kill. Make it now 3-4.
Great set there.
Eagles down 1. Libertowski has done a phenomenal job throughout the season for the Eagles. The freshman has been the setter when Monette's off the court. Now to serve here is Matt Bloom for the Eagles. Floated over now, Braby, the setter for the Wildcats. And outside hit there from Patrick O'Neill. Gets the point there for the Wildcats. Make it now 5-3 Wildcats. Now serve to come here from Sam Brown. He's been a big part for this Ignatius squad throughout this one. And with Braby off the court, I expect to see Brown setting for the Wildcats, and they're played off the hands of an Eagle. Make it 6-3 now Wildcats. Wildcats jumping out to an early advantage here in the fourth set. Serve now from Brown. Comes over, played by Estevez. Libertowski out to Estevez. And a nice dig there from Sam Brown. And now playing a ball over is Reagan. And now looking for it right in front of the net was Lucas Bender. Bender, however, sent it into the net, and it will be Eagles point. 4-6 now Wildcats. To serve for the Eagles is Jacob Estevez. Estevez, he'll float one over, and that played off the arms of Jacob Thomas. And Estevez will once again get another chance to serve here for the Eagles. It's 5-6 Wildcats here in this one. Estevez has been one of the better players throughout this one for the Eagles, and that serve goes just long there from Estevez, and he'll check out of this one for a moment. Michael Gall back in the lineup for the Eagles. Now to serve for the Wildcats is Patrick O'Neill. That serve will go short there for O'Neill. 6-7 Wildcats. And Eagles want to try to create a string of points and build some momentum just as they did in the second and third sets. And now outside hit from Reagan. That hit goes short. 7-7 now. This one is all tied up in the fourth set between the Eagles and the Wildcats. Hickman back to serve now for the Eagles. Serve comes in from Hickman. Played in the back row by the Wildcats. Now over from Bender. And now played by Monette over to Hutton. Big kill from Johnny Hutton for the Eagles. It's now 8-7, your St. Edward Eagles. Now serve here to come from Cade Hickman. Hickman floats one over. Now set from Sam Brown. Out to number 5, Reagan. And now the hit from Hutton. Wildcats unable to come away with the block there. It was Bender and Thomas that went up for the Wildcats, and now that'll make it 9-7 Eagles. And I talked with a couple of the Eagles players before this one, and they were very confident that they could get it done, said that there was some injuries on the Ignatius side. They've lost a couple players from last season, and it certainly looked positive thus far for the Eagles. 10-7, Eagles in the lead. Serve to come from Hickman. Now outside hit from Jack Reagan. A huge hit there from Reagan.
Nice kill there from Reagan.
Now the Wildcats trying to build some momentum here in the fourth set. They want to try to force a fifth and final set against the Eagles. Sean Bingle back to serve now for the Wildcats. Bingle will float one over as he's done throughout this match against the Eagles. And a double hit there from Hutton. Rather, a lift is the call from the referees.
Yeah, it looks like Hutton almost tried to catch it, bringing back out his wide receiver skills from junior year.
So now back to serve is Bingle for the Wildcats. That serve will go deep, make it 11-9 Eagles. Now back to serve for the Eagles is Johnny Hutton. We'll see if he once again goes back to that topspin serve or goes kind of flatter like that one he missed late in the last set. That one flat, but a huge serve there from Hutton. And
Anderson touched the net.
Ivor Anderson touching the net there for the Eagles. That'll give the point to the Wildcats. It's 11-10 Eagles. Back to serve now is number 1, Andrew Brobby for the Wildcats. Brobby stands at 5'7". He's the freshman there for the Wildcats. Set from Monette. Anderson floats it over. Now outside Brown, and Sam Brown will send that one a little wide. 12-10 now Eagles. This Eagles crowd getting into it. Michael Gall now back to serve. 12-10 Eagles in the fourth set. And it will go just long from Gall. Jack Reagan giving it a close look for the Wildcats. Ultimately allows to let it float past him. A good decision there from Reagan. Reagan to serve now for the Wildcats, played by Hickman. Now Monette outside. Baker, Joey Baker. Big moment there for the Eagles. Christopher Slater went up to block it for the Wildcats, but was unable to get it back over the net. Now Mason Monette back to serve for the Eagles. 13-11 Eagles. Now Brobby will set it out to O'Neill. Big block there from the tandem of Gibble and Estevez. 14-11 now Eagles. Can almost smell victory at this point, getting very close. Monette now back to serve for the Eagles. Float one over. Now the set from Brobby. Back to Brown. Now played by Hutton for the Eagles. Now Estevez trying to send it over for the Eagles, and a touch of the net there from the Wildcats. I believe it was called on number 4, Christopher Slater.
And looking at this duo, Gibble and Estevez, it just reminds me of the Twin Towers, you know. Two very big players who always doing big-time plays when it matters most.
And certainly tough to get it past those two when you're trying to make a hit. They've done a great job of blocking on the outside throughout this match against the Wildcats. That serve going wide there for the Eagles. It's now 15-12 Eagles. Back to serve for the Wildcats is number 2, Paul Anger. Played there by Estevez. Played outside to Joey Baker. A big hit there from Joey Baker, who has been having a heck of a game here tonight. 16-12 Eagles. Back to serve is Matt Bloom. And you've seen a strong rotation for this Eagles squad. They've played 9 throughout this one. Now Brobby plays it for the Wildcats. Now Sam Brown will try to play a free ball over. Kind of a miscommunication between Brown and O'Neal. And so point will go to the Eagles. That'll make it 17-12. Timeout, Wildcats. And these Eagles students enjoying themselves here from the Eagles Nest. It's very exciting to be able to bring you this action here on the Eagles Sports Network. I'm Cody Wagner here alongside Aiden Buchanan. Eagles very close to victory, just 8 points away as Mason Monette breaks the huddle for this Eagles squad. And it's been a strong rotation of 10 for the Eagles here tonight. It's been Ivor Anderson, Mason Monette, Cade Hickman, Joey Baker, who are on the bench at the moment, but out on the court have been the other 6 guys in that rotation: Johnny Hutton, Matt Bloom, Michael Gall, Zach Librikowski, Jared Gibble, and Jacob Estevez. Estevez and Hutton, just 2 of the mainstays for this Eagles squad, have played very strong here tonight, and certainly the Eagles will look to them for support throughout this season. Serve now to come from Bloom. Floated over there by Matt Bloom. Now set from Brobby outside O'Neal, and that hit goes short there from O'Neal. Tried to float it over the hands of Gibble, but it went just short. 18-12 now Eagles. Serve now to come from Bloom. Floated over there by Bloom. Set from Brobby. Back to Brown, and floated over there by Sam Brown. That was a beautiful hit there from Sam Brown. He'll now go back to serve for the Wildcats. 18-13 Eagles.
Coach Corrigan seems to hop on Michael Gall, but it was obviously just a joke. All laughs and giggles for the Eagles so far.
And now played by Hutton. Now Libertowski out to Hutton. And Hutton just went past the half-court line, and so score will now be 18-14 Eagles. Wildcats trying to mount a late 4th set comeback. Serve now from Sam Brown. Brown sends it over. Now Libertowski plays it outside Estevez, and that hit short there from Jacob Estevez. 18-15 now Eagles. This one getting more and more interesting. Now serve to come from Sam Brown. Heavy topspin. Now Libertowski out to Hutton. And that's the point for your St. Edward Eagles. Hutton just playing it over. Libertowski perhaps played it a little too close to the net for Hutton's liking, but Hutton found a way to get it over there for the Eagles. Make it 19-15 Eagles. Now serve going wide there from Estevez. He'll check out, and Michael Gall will head back into the game for the Eagles. The libero has been solid throughout this one for the Eagles. Now hit outside from Gibble. Now played over from Anderson for the Eagles. Now outside Reagan for the Wildcats. Now Libertowski tries to play it over, and not quite sure what the call was there on the Eagles, but nonetheless, it'll be Wildcats point. And score is now 19-18 here from the Eagles nest. This getting more and more interesting. Serve from O'Neal. Outside Hutton, and it'll be a point awarded to the Wildcats. Double hit there on the set. 19-19. We're all knotted up late in the fourth set, man. It does not get more intense than this. Short there from O'Neal. That'll make it 20-19 now, Eagles. Back to serve now for your St. Edward Eagles. It will be Cade Hickman. Also checking into the game is number 11, Mason Monette. Now Hickman here floats one over. That's played by Reagan. Now Brown out to Reagan. Big hit there from Jack Reagan. Make it now 2019. They did have the score wrong up on the scoreboard, so now it's 2019. Eagles still remain in the lead. Bingle now back to serve here for the Wildcats. He'll float one over. Now played by Hickman. Monette. Now Anderson. A big block in the middle by number 4, Chris Slater for the Wildcats. It's now 20-20 here in the fourth set on the Eagles Sports Network. This game has been an absolute nail-biter, especially here in this fourth set. Hutton from the back row, and he'll play it over, and it'll be point Wildcats. It's 21-20 Wildcats, and a timeout here will now come from the Eagles.
And what a swing of things here.
Head coach Neil Corrigan will try to motivate his guys to go out there and try to come away with this fourth set and put an end to this game against the Wildcats.
And as the energy picks up in this place, the game gets closer and closer. Every second, every moment.
And certainly one of the more stressful volleyball games I've been to in a while, Aiden. This one very close here between the Wildcats and the Eagles. Eagles will try to come away with a fourth set victory, and the Wildcats will try to extend this one into a fifth set. We'll see what happens here. It's 21-20 Wildcats. We're on the Eagles Sports Network. Bingle now back to serve for the Wildcats. In the back row for the Wildcats, it's O'Neal and Brown. Back row for the Eagles will be Gall, Hickman, and Hutton. Hickman now plays it for the Eagles. Set over to Hutton, and Johnny Hutton puts that one into the net. And now it's 22-20 Wildcats here in the fourth set. If you're joining us here, score is 22-20 Wildcats. We appreciate you tuning into this one between the Eagles and the Wildcats, and the Wildcats believe it went off the body of Johnny Hutton, but
point to the Eagles.
They will award the Eagles with the point there. It's now 22-21 Eagles. Seemed like it might have gone off the body of Hutton, but they will.
And St. Ignatius is trying to keep the energy high here as they gain momentum from their fans and the players.
And now Hutton floats one over there, played by Bingle, and now played up by O'Neal. Big hit from Monette. Now played back row by O'Neal, and I don't think Brown quite recognized that the ball was dropping on his side, and now that'll tie the score 22-22. Fourth set between the Eagles and the Wildcats. Johnny Hutton to serve. He'll float it over. And set now outside to Reagan, and that goes wide. Eagles point, make it 23-22 Eagles. And timeout Wildcats. Eagles head into this break up 23-22. And certainly you see a change of strategy from Hutton on this serve. In that third set when the Eagles were up, he was going with that flatter / topspin serve to try to put a little more power. Now going with that float serve, which kind of gives them more margin for error and certainly is more consistent. So Hutton recognizing the situation and going to the float serve when he sees necessary. We'll see if that's what it is from Hutton coming out of this break. 23-22 Eagles. I'm Cody Wagner here alongside Aiden Buchanan on the Eagles Sports Network, here to bring you this fourth set of action. 23-22 Eagles. Eagles up by 2-1. Floated over by Hutton. Now played back to number 10 for the Wildcats. That was Jacob Thomas, who had a very nice hit there for the Wildcats. Kind of put some funky side spin on it, and Michael Gall was unable to get it up there for the Eagles. And so it's 23-23, all tied up here from the Eagles' nest between the Eagles and the Wildcats. Bravi plays it over. Now Monette looked like he was going to set it, but sent it over, and a big hit there from number 8, Sam Brown, for the Wildcats. Bravi now back to serve for the set for the Wildcats. The score is 24-23 as the Let's Go Cats chants rain down here in the Eagles' nest.
And Coach Corrigan, same stress now, guys.
Bravi plays it over, played by Hickman. Monette out to Baker. Joey Baker plays it into the net. And we will see a fifth set here from the Eagles' nest. Wildcats take the fourth set, 25-23. We'll head to the fifth in just a moment. Aiden, hasn't been enough volleyball yet. We've got a fifth set headed your way. Eagles lost that first set by a score of 25-17, recovered in the second set 25-20, even more dominant in the third set 25-16. Eagles went up early in the fourth set, looked like they were going to take this game, but the Wildcats came storming back, and now they'll head into this fourth set with momentum, and rather this fifth set, and that's what we will have coming your way after this brief pause. About 2.5 minutes until we'll be back on the Eagles Sports Network. Fifth set to come. Hello, and we welcome you back in for a fifth set of action here on the Eagles Sports Network. Michael Gall, the serve for the Eagles. That serve goes wide. Every point so significant in this fifth set. Goes up to 15. The serve long there from Gall. It's 1-0 Wildcats. Now back to serve is Jack Reagan for the Wildcats. And that serve will go deep there from Reagan. Make it 1-1 here in the fifth set between the Eagles and the Wildcats. Now Monette back to serve for the Eagles. He'll float it over, rather it will go into the net, and now it'll be 2-1 here, Wildcats. Now back to serve for the Wildcats will be Sean Bingle. Bingle will float one over, played by Hutton. Now Libertowski over to Jacob Estevez with a big kill there for the Eagles. Make it 2-2 now between the Eagles and the Wildcats in this fifth set of action. Back to serve now, Matt Bloom for the Eagles. Bloom will float it over, and that will go short once again for the Eagles. Eagles have had serving troubles here early in this fifth set. Are still yet to capitalize on any of these serving opportunities. Have missed on all of them. 2 serves short, 1 deep. Libertowski over to Hutton. Hutton will throw it over. Now Brown out to O'Neal. Now it's Libertowski in the middle to Estevez. And now played by Brown.
Great rally here from both
sides.
sides.
Reagan will be unable to get it over, and it'll now be 3-3. We're tied here from the Eagles' nest in this fifth set of action. You could not ask for much better of a game here played between these two rivals in the Cleveland area. Now that played into the middle to Reagan. Reagan free ball over Libertowski. Now Estevez over to Gibble, who has a huge hit that was played off the arms of Reagan. Now free over by O'Neal. Now played out to Hutton. Johnny Hutton was unable to get it down, and that will go just long there from Johnny Hutton for the Eagles. And Aiden, keep in mind that they'll only play first to 15 points here in this fifth and final set. Hit there
Every
from
point
Hutton.
matters.
And now played over by O'Neal, and that will go just wide. Eagles point, make it 4-4. We're all knotted up. Checking into the game now is Mason Monette. Also in is Cade Hickman. Hickman coming in to play in the back row for Jared Gibble. And now played there by Reagan. Now Brown out to Reagan, and that was played off the arms of Bloom. Seemed like Gall might have wanted to take that, but Matt Bloom playing it off his arms into the crowd. It's 5-4 Wildcats. Neither team has won a service point as of yet. Early in this fifth set, Paul Engert back to serve for the Wildcats. Engert, now that'll go to Gall, who plays it off the arms unsuccessfully. It'll now be 6-4 Wildcats. Paul Engert floats one over. Now Hutton. Monette. He tried to get tricky with it, but Wildcats were privy to that attempt. Now out to Hutton. Hutton will send it over. Now Wildcats sending it over. Now middle, Ivor Anderson. A big block there from Christopher Slater, who has had a couple of absolutely huge blocks here in this one for the Wildcats. It's 7-4 now Wildcats. They're starting to pull away here in the fifth set. Eagles have got to get this one here in a big way. Big hit from Johnny Hutton gets the Eagles the point. He immediately heads back to serve for the Eagles. Likely to see this float serve here from Hutton. It's 5-7 Wildcats. Fifth set here. Hutton back to serve. And it'll be the topspin serve from Hutton, which goes short. Based on his reaction, hit a little bit off the wrist. Wanted to get up more on the hand. Now back to serve for the Wildcats will be Braby. And now Monette out to Baker. And a block there from the Wildcats. Now Hutton in the middle. He'll float it over, and that'll be the point there for the Eagles. Make it now 6-8 Wildcats. Let's see what Michael Gall can do. This Eagles crowd getting into it here. Trying to urge their guys on to victory here from the Eagles nest. Braby now set to Reagan, and Eagles unable to block that one. That was Estevez and Baker who went up for the Eagles. Now back to serve is number 5, Jack Reagan for the Wildcats. Reagan now will toss it up. He'll hit the serve there, back to Hutton. Now Monette will set it in the middle for Estevez, and it'll be point Wildcats. 10-6 now Wildcats.
And the Wildcats are slowly pulling away with this one. It's not looking so well for the Eagles right now.
Now serve will come from Reagan. And now Baker will send it over for the Eagles. Now Braby out to Sam Brown, and that'll be Wildcats point. 11-6 now Wildcats starting to pull away with this one here in the 5th set. Head coach for the Wildcats giving high fives down the bench. And timeout Eagles. Head coach Neil Corrigan will want to talk this one over with the squad. We'll try to get them refocused for the end of this 5th set. And now back to serve for the Wildcats is Jack Reagan. Score is 11-6 Wildcats here from the Eagles nest. The Eagles will try to get it done here late in this one against the Wildcats. Back row for the Eagles is Hutton, Gall, and Hickman, and that serve will go deep right there from Jack Reagan. Now serve coming in from Monette. Now Braby out to Brown. Now Gibble will play it. Now over to Estevez. And Eagles able to keep it up. And it will be Wildcats point. 12-7 Wildcats here late in the 5th set. Monette coming out of the game here for the Eagles. Eagles need a big moment here. Sean Bingle back to serve for the Wildcats. Set score is 2-2 between these two evenly matched teams. Sam Brown looked for a big hit there for the Wildcats. Brown now will have to play a free ball over. Now played by Gall in the back row. Now played over by Hutton. Hutton sends it into the net. It'll now be 13-7 Wildcats. And it's been such a close match between these two teams. Really a shame to see either of them lose this one. And Bingle will send it over. Now Libertowski tries to play it into Estevez. Estevez mistiming it. And it'll now be 14-7 Wildcats here on set point. And match point here for the St. Ignatius Wildcats. Now Bingo back to serve for the Wildcats. He'll float it over. Hutton, Libertowski. Big hit from Jacob Estevez. Eagles stay in this one here. It's now 8-14 Wildcats. Hopefully that hit from Estevez giving the Eagles at least a little life in this one. Matt Bloom now will try to go on a run here for the Eagles. He'll float it over. Now Brabi. He'll go outside O'Neal. Block there from Estevez. Now over to Sam Brown, who ends the game for the Wildcats. And they are victorious here from the Eagles' Nest.
The Wildcats are victorious at the Nest once again. Back-to-back victories for the Wildcats and the Holy War, and back-to-back victories at the Nest for the Wildcats.
And this one ends in disappointment for the Eagles. Was a close match throughout. Eagles ultimately losing by a score of 25-17, 20-25. Rather, the score was Wildcats won the first set 25-17, lost the second set 25-20, lost the third set 25-16, rebounded in that fourth set 25-23, and the Wildcats came away with victory in that fifth and final set by a score of 15-8. It was with absolute pleasure I was able to bring you this action. I'm Cody Wagner alongside Aiden Buchanan, and with that we say so long from the Eagles' Nest.